Good morning, folks. My name is Kurt Hitzemann, County Court Judge here in Hernando County. You folks are here for your first appearance. The purpose of the first appearance is so that you may be informed of the charges against you and will determine if probable cause exists for those charges. Probable cause simply means that it's more likely than not that a crime has occurred and more likely than not that you're the person that committed the crime. As you stand before me this morning, of course, you're presumed to be innocent. That presumption of innocence will stay with you through every stage of the proceedings, unless and until the State Attorney's Office can prove the allegations against you beyond and to the exclusion of a reasonable doubt. We will set your conditions of pretrial release, that is your bail or your bond. In most cases, you've had a bond set already pursuant to the bond schedule here in the 5th Judicial Circuit for the warrant which led to your arrest. I'll determine if that bond should be raised or lowered or left the same, or whether there'll be additional conditions of pretrial release placed upon you. We'll let you know when your next court date will be, and if you'd like to have the services of the public defender, I'll gladly appoint the PD to represent you this morning. You do have a right to have contact with folks on the outside, family, friends, counsel. If you haven't had a chance to make that call, please let me know. We'll make sure that that happens. Finally, and most importantly, you're advised that you do have an absolute right to remain silent with regard to the facts which surround your arrest. I encourage you to do that. These proceedings are recorded. In addition, there is an assistant state attorney in the courtroom with me. If you say something that tends to incriminate you, they will use it against you in the prosecution down the road. I now need each and every one of you there at the jail to please raise your right hands and be sworn. Y'all solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, nothing but the truth. Outstanding. When I call your name, please step forward to the podium. Jacqueline Campbell. Morning, Miss Campbell. What's your date of birth?
Good morning. None of your business.
You know what? It is my business, and you can wind up doing lots of jail time if you're going to act like that. So, what's your date of birth?
I don't know if you saw her give you the finger, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right. Jacqueline, we're now going to have a contempt proceeding. Come on back to the microphone, and if the deputy has to hold you against the wood, that's what's going to happen. You now have an opportunity to tell me if there's any reason why I shouldn't hold you in contempt. Any reason? All right, I'll find you in contempt of court. I'm going to sentence you to 179 days in the county jail starting today. I will set your bond on your domestic case at $500 and appoint the public defender. You'll be back in court on the 14th of November. Jacqueline Murray. Miss Murray, any interest in sharing with me your birthday?
11490.
See how easy that was? All right, hang on one second. I'm sorry, Miss Murray. Okay, Miss Murray, I have a warrant for you out of Pasco County. The judge that signed the warrant found probable cause for a VOP and set your bond at no bond. So what we're going to do is let Pasco know today that you're here and ready to go. Give them 5 days to come get you. It doesn't take 5 days with Pasco, but if for some strange reason you're still here 5 days from now, they're going to bring you back to see me and I'll find out what the holdup is, okay?
All right.
Thank you. Stephanie Whedon.
6965.
You're the best, Stephanie. Thank you. All right, Stephanie, you're here on a charge of battery being domestic in nature this morning. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire a private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point to PD. State, can you tell me anything?
It's pretty minimal, Your Honor. There's a 1994 possession of marijuana charge.
Okay. And Stephanie, I have an address for you on Lake Lindsay Road. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir. 19234.
All right. How long have you lived there?
Since June 9th.
Okay. And does Ashley live there too?
Yeah, so I don't know what to do about that because I
Okay.
pay the rent and all the bills and I don't know where to go.
Okay. All right.
Or rather, my husband did. He just passed away, so I don't really
Okay.
know what I'm gonna do.
Okay, hang on, Stephanie. It's definitely going to get worse here before it gets better, unfortunately. But I'll go over it with you, okay? What I'll do is set your bond at $100. The condition of the bond, however, is that you have no contact with Ashley. No contact means no contact of any kind. You don't call, you don't write, you don't email, you don't text message. Don't contact her through any social media. Any way that you might think about contacting her, I forbid you to do that. If you have contact and we find out about it, your bond can be revoked, and you can be held without bond until the charge is resolved. It means no contact even if she wants the contact, so if you answer your phone and hear her voice, you got to hang up. If you're out and about and see her, you got to turn it on and run the other way. You need to understand she cannot drop the charges against you. That's not a decision she'll be allowed to make. Unless you hear from a judge or a lawyer on your case that the charges have been dropped, you should assume they're not dropped and you should not have contact. In addition, I've got to hold you at the jail today up until 4 p.m. so that if she wanted to serve you with a civil injunction for domestic violence, we'd know where to find you. If you get the civil injunction, it's doubly important that you not have contact, because in that case, not only could you get your bond revoked here, but you could get new charges for violating the injunction. Now, as you've already perceived, with that address on Lake Lindsay, as long as Ashley stays there, you'll have to find someplace else to stay until we get this resolved. You can go by one time to pick up your clothes, your toothbrush, whatever you need for wherever you find to stay. But to do that, you'd have to contact the sheriff's office first. They'd meet you there with a deputy, and you'd have a few minutes to grab your things and get going wherever you're going to go. So I know this is harsh, but unfortunately the law requires all of those conditions. There's not a thing I can do about it. I am going to have you back in
Don't go
court.
live out in the woods. I got to go live in the woods. That's exactly what's going to happen to me. I got nothing.
Ma'am, I'm sorry, but there really is nothing I can do about it. If you get out, you should go immediately to see the public defender and see what it is that they can do for you, because they'll be representing you now, and maybe they can provide you some assistance. I'm going to have you back in court on the 8th of November. You make sure you go see the PD when you get out, all right? Michelle Andre? Morning, ma'am. What's your date of birth?
August 3rd, 1970.
Michelle, we got 2 charges this morning. I've got a battery and a resisting without violence.
Your Honor?
Yep.
I would challenge the resisting without violence as not having probable cause. She ripped up a sworn written statement. She has a right to not give a statement, and she has a right not to sign the notice to appear. The result of that is that she gets arrested on the charge. So I don't see any probable cause for resisting without violence.
Okay, I do. I'll find probable cause for both charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire a private counsel, would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD. And state, what can you tell me?
Not much, Your Honor. Just 2009 DUI case and a violation of probation on that case, Your Honor.
Okay. And Miss Andre, I've got an address for you on Commercial Way. Is that where you live?
Nope.
Okay.
255 Springhaven Loop.
Okay. How long have you been on Springhaven Loop?
11 years.
All right. You have a job these days?
Yes, I do.
What do you do?
I'm a cashier.
Okay. Where do you do that?
Cigar and smoke shop.
Okay. I'll set the bond on the battery at $500. I will release you on your own recognizance on the resisting, so the total is $500. Condition of the bond on the battery is that you have no contact with Delana Clark. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes.
And you understood that?
Yes, I did.
Very good. Have you back in court on the 8th of November. Make sure you see the public defender when you get out, all right?
Yep.
Elizabeth Boyd. Morning, Miss Boyd. What's your date of birth?
11582.
Boyd, there's 2 charges this morning. I've got possession of methamphetamine and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
I show 2 prior DUIs, Your Honor, one in 2013 and one in 2002.
Okay. And Elizabeth, I've got an address for you on Broad Street. Is that where you live?
No, it's 3255 Hargrove Street.
Okay. How long have you been there?
Like 2 months.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
No.
I'll set your bond on the meth at $1,000 and on the paraphernalia at $500. Your total is $1,500. I'll have you back in court on the 14th of November. If you get out, make sure you go see the PD, okay?
Okay.
Thank you. Tyson Aguilar? Morning, sir. What's your date of birth?
4/16/88.
Tyson, we got 4 charges today. I've got possession of methamphetamine, possession of drug paraphernalia, driving on a suspended license, and operating an unregistered vehicle. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, Steve.
Mr. Aguilar seems to have a problem appearing for court. We've got a failure to appear in December of 2016, a failure to appear in October of 2016, failure to appear in August of 2016, a failure to appear in also in 2016 on a grand theft motor vehicle charge. It looks like he went to prison for methamphetamine for a year and a day in 2013. 2013 possession of controlled substance, another failure to appear in 2011 before that. 2010 marijuana and petty theft with a violation of probation.
And Tyson, I have an address for you on Broad Street in Missouritown. Is that where you live?
Yeah.
How long
Yes,
you
sir.
been there?
Probably about a year now.
Do you have a job these days?
I do side work.
Okay. All right. On the methamphetamine, I'll leave the bond at the $2,000. On the other 3 charges, $500 each. Your total is $3,500. We're going to have you back in court on the 14th of November. Very important that you go see the public defender if you get out. If you can't get out, they'll come see you at the jail before your court date, okay?
All right, thank you.
Thank you. David Bailey. Morning, David. What's your date of birth?
12/19/68.
All right, David, you have 3 charges this morning. Possession of methamphetamine, possession of controlled substance, I believe it was alprazolam, and possession of drug paraphernalia. There's probable cause for those charges. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, would you like the public defender?
Well, all depends. I mean, I can probably afford my own counselor, but I mean, all that depends on whether I can get out or not to go find one.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what. We'll set bonds, and then once we set the bonds, we'll see what you think about it then, okay?
Okay, that's fine.
State, what can you tell me?
He's actually, he has some record, but he's been clean for a little while. 2008 battery with a violation of probation. 2003 marijuana and paraphernalia. And 2001 he had a failure to appear in a fugitive justice warrant, but I'm not sure what that was related to.
Okay. And David, got an address for you on Powell Road. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you
Yes,
been there?
sir. About 6 years.
All right. You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
I do commercial air conditioning. I've been with them for like almost 20 years now.
Okay. All right. I'm going to set the bonds on the meth and the alprazolam at $1,000 each and $500 on the paraphernalia, so that's $2,500. So you think you're going to be able to get out and find a lawyer, or do you need the public defender?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah, I can get a lawyer. Yes,
All right,
sir.
very good. So we'll have you back in court on the 14th of November. Make sure you tell your lawyer about that date, okay?
Yes, sir.
Very good. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
David Cassidy. Morning, David. What's your date of birth?
11/1/78.
Very good, David. The charge is battery being domestic in nature. There's probable cause for the charge. As to the charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
Yes, Your Honor. It looks like he has some driving charges from 2011 he failed to appear on. 2010 domestic violence case and a 2007 DUI and violation of probation on that DUI.
And David, I had an address for you on Legend Street in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
At the moment, yes, sir.
Okay. How long had you lived there?
Me and my wife just moved in about 2 months ago.
You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
And you said Kimberly was living there too, right?
Yes, she is.
Okay. And what do you do for work?
I'm an auto detailer.
Okay. All right. I'll set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you not have contact with Kimberly. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes, sir.
Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Also have to hold you till 4 p.m. so that if she wants to serve you with a civil injunction, we know where to find you. You can go by the Legend Street address one time to collect your things, but you must contact the sheriff's office before you go there. And I'll have you back in court on the 8th of November. Make sure you go see the PD when you get out, okay?
Thank you.
Thank you. Jeffrey Goggins. Want to, sir, what's your date of birth?
1/18/78.
All right, Jeffrey, you're here on a warrant signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for a violation of probation. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself. You want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
Appoint the PD. Bond on the warrant, of course, Jeffrey's no bond. I can't change that. We'll send you back to see Judge Merritt on the 14th of November. Public defender's going to come see you before then, okay?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Dustin Hewitt.
$125.75.
Very good, Dustin, thank you. You're here on a probable cause arrest for a violation of probation. Looks like you had probation from Volusia, but you were being supervised here. Does that sound right?
Yes, sir.
Very good. There is probable cause for the VOP. The bond on that will be no bond. What's going to happen is we're going to notify Volusia County right away today that you're here and ready to go. They'll have 5 days to come get you. If you're still here in 5 days, they'll bring you back to see me, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Brandon Hosier.
10/20/91.
Good, Brandon. Looks like you just are wanting the public defender appointed. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I'll appoint the public defender to represent you. You'll be in court on the 23rd of October, and the PD is going to come see you before then, okay?
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. DeAndre Jackson. Morning, Mr. Jackson. What's your date of birth?
August 28th, 1992.
All right. You're here on one count of trespass. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you wish to represent yourself. You're going to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll point to PD. State.
Yes, Your Honor. Looks like he has a recent arrest for trespassing in Pasco, another one for resisting out of Pasco, and he was arrested here in February for trespassing, as well as in January. He recently, in 2015, did a year and a day in state prison for aggravated stalking. There's also possession of cocaine with that. There's a failure to appear in 2013, another failure to appear in 2013. Violation of pretrial release, looks like that's 2013. Possession of forged bills in 2013. Battery on a law enforcement or firefighter in 2013. Did 1129 on that, and that's the last of his adult record.
Okay. All right. And Mr. Jackson, I had an address for you on Centerwood Avenue. Is that where you're living?
Yes, sir.
Okay. You have a job these days?
It's a little job. It's car washing.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to leave the bond at $1,000. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with Richard Clark or with his address on Fish Cove Drive. I'll have you back in court on the 8th of November. Very important that you go see the public defender when you get out, all right?
All right.
Thank you. Larry Johnson.
2976.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. You're here on a charge, actually a warrant that was signed by Judge Merritt. He found probable cause for one count of stalking. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel, or would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Hang on just a second, double check over here. It looks like just a 2002 domestic battery case, Your Honor. There's also resisting that went along with it.
Okay.
And that's all I see as far as convictions, Your Honor.
Okay. And, all right. And Larry, I have an address for you. There we go. On Ridgeline Lane in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long you been there?
For about a year.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
I'm disabled. I collect disability.
Okay. All right, Larry, I'll set your bond at $500. Condition of the bond is that you have no contact with the alleged victim. Did you hear me explain no contact earlier?
Yes.
And you understood that?
Yes.
Very good. We'll have you back in court on the 8th of November. Make sure you go see the public defender when you get out, all right?
All right.
Thank you. Got somebody here?
Judge, I actually have someone that's scheduled to be in the injunction hearing right after that. And I'm hoping we might be able to have her brought in.
Okay. What's the name?
Mazzarella.
M-O-Z-Z.
Mazza, M-A-Z-Z-A-R-E-L-L-A, first name Patrice. She's been in custody now for quite a while and has a violation.
And they're putting her on the link this morning
When
over
you're,
there when we're done.
when you're
Okay.
done, if I can.
Okay. Joe, can we get a Patrice Mozzarella when you get a chance?
She's
here
present.
Oh, outstanding. She's here. You guys are the best.
Do we need to have her file brought up? You can pull it up, I guess.
Yeah. We're talking to Jehovah.
What is it?
It's a BOP, and she got picked up on the felony charges, which is going to admit to the violation.
That's, does probation have any recommendation? I usually just defer that. I don't know anything about this
I don't know
case.
anything about it.
I don't know whether it's a BOP on. What was she on probation for? Yeah, well, you represent me. Yes, and they.
I'll have all the information for you folks. I'm working on it right now.
The first name again will work with T.
Patricia, yes.
Thank you. Okay, I apologize. Can you spell that last name again for me?
M-A-Z-Z-A-R-E-L-L-A. I'm working on it right now. I didn't expect to have such a prompt response when I walked in. Why not?
Wow. State base 17, two cases. Couple different ones. Yes. What were the charges on the DOP?
Pulling it up right now. The case number is 2017 MM 2735 petty theft. She has been in. Jesus. Status 28. Hold on 1 second also. 27. She's been in since 27th of September.
She's got a corporate felony.
She does, Judge. This is the RCO on this is what's keeping her in custody. arresting date was, booking date was 9/28.
Oh, this is a PC arrest from the DOP.
Yes.
Okay, and so what's going on with the felony?
We're not even to arraignment yet.
And your desires of her admitting a violation, I assume to technicals, and so you can get her out of jail.
Yes, sir.
Case number.
It is. One more second, please, and I go back to my.
17 mm 2735.
That's
Is
it.
that right?
Is there even a violation? I don't know how he could admit to technicals if the only basis for the violation is a new felony charge.
They always have stuff that's not.
Yeah, hey.
But there's no affidavit or anything yet. It's just a PC, right?
County court warrant for retail theft. Second degree misdemeanor.
Wow.
31st of July.
Okay. Tell you what.
60 days.
We can set her a bond.
That'll work, Judge.
Let's get some sketch where I want to go, and then we can figure out what's going on. Because really, when we do that PC arrest, we have nothing.
Looks like there's another probation.
She's got a couple of closed misdemeanors. She went on probation on the one. So. Okay. All right. And Patrice, how long have you lived in Hernando County? Where'd you go?
No,
How long have you lived in Hernando County?
16 months.
Okay, where were you before that?
New Jersey?
Okay. And you have family down here?
No.
Okay.
Fiance.
What brought you to Hernando County?
Fiance?
Okay, and that's the.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. And you have a job down here?
I'm on disability for breast cancer.
Okay, okay. All right. I will, in case number 17MM2735, we'll set a bond of $500. Looks like she's due back in front of me on the 1st of November for arraignment.
Sounds good, Judge. Thank you.
Very good.
Patrice, they're going to keep you there. We're going to have the injunction hearing next door. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Patrice? Patrice? Hello?
Come back.
Come back. Hello?
Hello? Where's she going? Hello?
Jill, can you get her back?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. What was that about? Just normally just cut out?
I don't know. There she is.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
All right. I just wanted you to know I'm going to be asking to continue the injunction until you can get out and we can prepare for it. And so I don't anticipate anything happening on that today.
Do I have a bail today?
Yes.
You do have a bail on this. You're able to bond out now. You put a $500 bond on this.
And that's it? It's not the 16 or?
Well, you still have the bond on the felony case.
Okay,
So you have the bond on both cases. This was the one that had a no bond on it, and so that's we fixed.
So I can get out today?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, and on the injunction case, I'm going to continue that.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
I'll have my mom call you.
That'd be great. Hope you know I can talk to your dad.
All right.
Yeah, he just got on.
Okay, Andrew Lambert. Morning, Andrew. What's your date of birth?
1/5/1980.
All right, Andrew, I got a warrant for you out of Pinellas County. Apparently a judge down there thinks you failed to appear in his court, and he said I issued a warrant and set a bond of $2,013. You can post that bond, Andrew. You can go down to St. Pete, find out when they want you in court. If you can't post it, I'll give them 5 days to come get you, all right?
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you.
Michael Levinson. Morning, Michael. What's your date of birth?
April 22nd, 1982.
Michael, the charge this morning is robbery. There's probable cause for the charge. As to that charge, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire a private counsel. Would you like the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, state.
Yes, Your Honor, I see these are somewhat confusing when they do this, but it's a multiple count. My best guess is 5 count obtaining controlled substance by a fraud prior that he had probation on and then violated his probation. That is actually his only prior criminal episode, but it looks like that was actually divided up over multiple cases, which is, I've seen that happen before when they finally catch up to people on these.
Okay. And Michael, I've got an address for you on Mead Drive in Spring Hill. Is that where you live?
Yes, sir.
How long have you been there?
7 years.
You have a job these days?
Yes, sir.
What do you do?
Move furniture.
Okay. Who do you do that for?
St. Vincent de Paul's.
Okay.
Oh, and I did forget, he was also on misdemeanor probation at the time for a false identification case.
Okay.
I believe you're quoting, Your Honor.
All right. He's on probation now?
He's on
Yes, he is,
misdemeanor
sir.
probation
Oh, okay. Okay.
in violation status.
Okay.
He was placed back in September.
Okay. All right. So, Michael, here's the deal. On this case, I'm going to set your bond at $10,000. This one's coming back on the 14th of November. Now, it appears that you're currently on probation for a misdemeanor. That means that the folks at probation are going to be doing a warrant today or tomorrow for an arrest on a violation of probation. I tell you that because that warrant will have no bond on it. So if you spend money bonding out on this case, then you're going to get rearrested very shortly after you get out for the VOP warrant, which will be no bond, and you could lose the money that you spent bonding out. If you stay in on this case, you will get credit time since yesterday for any time you might have to serve on the VOP if it turns out there was a VOP. But that'll be up to you. I just want you to know that warrant is coming, and the bond on that warrant will be no bond, all right?
Okay.
All right, thank you. Joel Lincoln back?
Morning, Your Honor.
Morning, Joel. What's your date of birth?
2/12/1981.
Joel, this is a warrant that was signed by Judge Scaglione. He found probable cause for 2 charges, trespass and resisting without violence. As to those charges, you want to represent yourself, you want to hire private counsel. Would you like me to appoint the public defender?
Public defender.
I'll appoint the PD, State.
Yes, Your Honor. What I'm assuming he came over from a 2016 scheme to defraud out of Pinellas, a 2015 possession of methamphetamine, 2015 retail theft, possession of marijuana before that, then there's a trip to prison, it looks like, for multiple counts of possession for 14 months. For that, we have a 2009 burglary with a violation of probation, possession of marijuana and Xanax in 2008, burglary of a structure in 2008, paraphernalia, another possession in 2003 with a violation of probation, and that about covers it.
Joel, I've got an address for you on Oliver Street. Is that where you live?
Sure. I'm back and forth between Pinellas County and here in Brooksville on Oliver Street.
Okay. Do you have a job these days?
Yes, sir. I work for Sea Line to Tree Line Tree Service. And I don't know if you're able to see, I was picked up on these warrants out of Pinellas County on September 18th of last month.
Right.
Okay. And I've been waiting to come to Hernando ever since.
Okay. I can't explain that.
Okay.
What I'll do is set your bonds at $500 on each count, so the total's $1,000. We'll have you back in court on the 8th of November, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Lawrence Newsom. Morning, Mr. Newsom. What's your date of birth?
2/15/8.
Lawrence, you're here on a warrant that I signed. You failed to appear in my court on a notice to appear on a violation of probation. Ms. Newby, is there a recommendation?
30 days.
All right. So, Lawrence, the recommendation on the VOP is 30 days. You can take that this morning if you wish. If you take it, I'll give you credit for whatever time you had in here, and it looks like you were in Pasco, too. If you'd rather speak to a lawyer first, you sure can do that.
I'll take
Okay, how long were you in jail in Pasco County?
a week.
Okay. All right. And at the jail, can we confirm how long he was in jail in Pasco?
I'm showing an arrest date at 10/14.
10/14. that sound right?
Yes.
Patrick?
Yes.
Okay. What's today? The 19th. Okay, very good. Patrick, you understand by entering an admission to a violation of probation, you give up the right to have a trial to the court, the right to confront the witnesses against you, the right to have a lawyer represent you, but you want to give up those rights so we can resolve this case today?
Yes, sir.
In case number 16 CT 3112, do you admit that you violated your probation?
Yes, sir.
I'll accept the admission, find it's freely and voluntarily made, revoke and terminate the probation unsuccessfully. I will adjudicate you guilty of the underlying charge and sentence you to 30 days in the county jail. Credit 6 days served. There'll be a $50 cost of prosecution and your cost of incarceration. So that takes care of it, Patrick. You just need to finish the time, all right?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. David Rhodes. Morning, David. What's your date of birth?
02/21/1982.
And, David, I have a warrant for you out of Lake County. Apparently, a judge there thinks you failed to appear in his court and issued this warrant and set your bond at no bond. Unfortunately, I can't change that. We'll let the folks in Lake County know you're here. Give them 5 days to come get you, all right?
Can I ask a question real quick?
Sure.
What happens after the 5 days? Like,
Well, in the 5 days, if you're still here, and it's very unlikely with Lake, but if you're still here, they bring you back to see me, and I'd find out from the jail staff if they've had contact with Lake County and what Lake County said to them, and so on and so forth. I mean, I got this warrant, and we got to deal with it. It doesn't mean you automatically get released, but I think you can count on Lake County coming to get you right away.
all right, then one more question. I was told I had 20 days left to serve here, so how does that work between here and Lake County?
I don't know. Normally, they wouldn't have brought this up at first appearance unless you were EOS here. If you still have time to serve, I don't have any problem with you serving it in Lake County if Lake will come and get you while you still got time to serve.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yep. And then we have Mr. Beasley, who apparently is still in the hospital. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. He's got another DSP this morning. There's probable cause for that. We'll add another $2,000 to all of his bonds, appoint the public defender, and send it to the 14th with all of his other cases.
Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. On that first case, there was probable cause on Ms. Campbell. Yep.
And was she appointed
I did appoint the public defender instead of $500 bond. Those things.